And we're underway here this afternoon. Notts County against Bromley. It's 7th against 3rd in the National League. The Magpies of Nottingham, the Ravens of Bromley. A couple of birds in competition here this afternoon, as there were down at Maidenhead just a few days ago on New Year's Day. Of course, that though was a duel between the two Magpies. And already in these early stages, they have an early throw-in to Bromley, and it's in a position that they can launch a long throw into the Notts penalty area, and I do mean a long throw, as they manage to scramble the ball clear. As Neil Ardley said before this game, they get the ball into attacking areas, they get the ball forward, and they waste absolutely no time whatsoever, Bromley, in getting that ball into your 18-yard box. And as we were saying before kick-off, Mark Stallard, as the ball is now into the hands of Sam Slocum, Notts are going to have to be absolutely on it defensively today.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fantastic long throw from Chris Bush. He's lined up there on the right hand, well, as a centre-half at the minute, but he's got a fantastically long throw. You'd probably say arguably longer than Mitch Rose has for Notts.
Yes.
So it certainly reached the middle of the goal mouth there, and that will be a weapon. They will not take any chances in putting the ball into the Notts penalty area.
Rory Delap-esque, or for a more sort of obscure reference, Exodus Gehagen-esque. Do you remember Exodus Gehagen?
I do, yes. That is obscure, you're right.
It was with Mansfield all those years ago when they got promoted out of this division. He had an absolute cannon on him when it came to his long throws. Speaking of which, Notts have now got a throw, and Brindley takes it. It's flicked on by Wootton. Bromley come up with it level with the halfway line, and it's now with Williamson, who's to the right of the front three, back to the right fullback Kizzy, who's going to try and push it past Enzio, who's trying to stick with him, and then makes a very sort of wingers, strikers tackle. He nearly decked the linesman in the process, and just a bit clumsy really from the Dutchman there.
Yeah, it was good progressive play from Joe Kizzy, the right back. First thought in his head, get the ball out of his feet, make progress down that right hand touchline. That's exactly what he did. Enzio just leaning on him, always just half a yard behind him, and leaning on him too much, took him into the linesman, who dropped his flag, and the referee gave a free kick, and it's another chance for Bromley to put the ball into the Notts penalty area from their right hand side. And
we've only played 2.5 minutes. It's not particularly complicated what they do, but they've got a good way of doing it. And it's certainly effective, it must be, if they're, third in the table with nearly 30 games played in the National League season. Here comes the in-swinging ball. That should be Slocum's. It is. And now they'll look to hit him on the counter-attack as fast as they possibly can. Down the left-hand side, it's to Osborne. His touch was poor, but Thomas is there to sweep up, and they've still got men forward. Here goes Osborne down the left wing. Enzio's in the centre as a target. So's Wootton, so's Rose. It's still with Osborne. Another poor touch, but he gets past his man. Cuts it back to Thomas! It's a brilliant goal and the perfect start for Notts County. 3 on the clock. You know what Thomas is going to do? He's going to salute the Notts supporters here at Meadow Lane. Perfect counter-attack from back to front. Osborne makes it. Good darting play down the left-hand side, and a top striker's finish from Thomas. 10 for the season for him. Notts 1, Bromley 0.
Well, we said this game might be open. There might be goals in it if you could get at it. My word, what a start we've had. Bromley have been in the Notts penalty area twice. Credit to Sam Slocum as well for that. He's caught the cross cleanly, but then released Sam Osborne down the left-hand side with a good throw. Got Notts on that counter-attack. Sam Osborne, a bit of a heavy touch at first on the halfway line, but Wes Thomas was there backing him up. Gave it back to Sam Osborne, who beat his fullback on the byline, pulled it back to 10 yards out, and Wes Thomas with a fantastic first-time finish with his left foot in at the near post. I think Huddart might have got fingertips on it, pushed it against the post, but in the back of the net it went. And with 3 minutes on the clock, Notts are 1 to the good.
And some irony to that as well. Notts County's all-time leading goal scorer, Les Brad, has missed it. It was that early in the game. He's only just taken his seat now, so he's talking to some of the current players who are not in the squad today and asking him what happened. Well, meanwhile, Bromley are now looking to level things up immediately as they float a ball forward up over the top, and Coulson tries to get on the end of it, but doesn't manage to do so. The two wingers for Notts have switched flanks, and Osborne's now on the right with Enzio on the left, but the ball is at the feet of the very well composed Michael Doyle, the skipper, who continues to marshal and monitor his players here this afternoon. We've played nearly 5 minutes. Notts 1, Bromley 0. If you're just switching on, where you been? missing all the fun. Wes Thomas with the goal for Notts. That's not such a fun ball from Mitchell Rose. He tried to play a touch too straight, and now he's been suckered out of position, and he's left a big gap in behind him, and Bromley are on the counter as they move the ball out onto the right hand side. It's to Williamson. He's going to get some support from Kizzy, who was in lots of space as well. Enzio just a touch naive in the way that he looked to cover and double up there with Williamson. Fortunately, Williamson's ball wasn't great, and now the linesman's offside flag is up, and everybody can just take a breath.
Yeah, just breathe again. Williamson just sloppy coming back, got caught offside again on the near post, but noticeable in that break. You say Mitch Rose giving the ball away, but halfway inside the Bromley half. But already Bromley had 4 men in advance of the ball. They put bodies forward as they broke down the right-hand side again. There were 4 bodies inside the Notts penalty area. That obviously 1 down. They're not going to put the shackles on now, but you know, I think that's how they play anyway. They're going to get bodies into the penalty area. This is going to be an open game.
And it looks so clearly, and yes, I mean, the opportunity provided itself in the early stages, but it looks so clearly that Neil Ardley had well sort of addressed his players and told them that they're going to do that. They're going to put men forward, and they are going to leave space in behind, and that could leave them vulnerable to the counter-attack, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah,
absolutely right. There's space to be exploited. You've got to use the ball well. We said before the kickoff, Notts have got to use the ball well. If they do that, if they can control the ball, shift it well at a good tempo, there is space to exploit. And so that proved in the opening 5 minutes. They've gone one to the good, but I say, dare we say it, you feel like there could be plenty of goals in this game.
6 minutes has rushed on by here at Meadow Lane. Give it another 5 or so and we'll head up to Mansfield to see how the Stags are getting on against Grimsby today. In recent years that one's often been an early kick-off because it's such a fiery one usually, but it's 3 o'clock today, and a novelty on this day that there are 3 o'clock kick-offs. Free kick Bromley straight over the top, straight through to Sam Slocum, and Neil Ardley stands patrolling the edge of his technical area, and I'm sure a very happy man so far. But it is early days as Damien McCrory has it in the left full-back position inside his own half, gives it to Lacey, poor ball forward, cut out, and he clatters into the back of one of the Bromley players. Now McCrory chucks himself into a tackle as well, and by hook or by crook, Notts have got the ball back. Lacey plays it forwards up towards Thomas. Got a bit of strong defending in his back immediately from Chris Bush, who used to be at Lincoln and Brentford before that, and Thomas tries to win it back near the halfway line and finds Osborne in the process and gets maybe a little fortunate there in getting a free kick that Doyle wanted to take quickly again, but this time he'll put the brakes on. Rose offering himself, providing an option, and instead I think Doyle will take his time. He has done. Exchanges passes with Rose and plays a long one up over the top. Poor distribution from the Irishman and straight through to the goalkeeper. This the 5th game for Notts County in the last 14 days. Depending on who you talk to, different ex-pros will give you a different opinion as to how tough that is. Some will say, well, it's your job and you crack on and you get on with it. Others will say, yeah, that was pretty tough, 5 games in 14 days. The ball has been stabbed through to Coulson from Bromley, but I do believe he would have been offside. The linesman's flag doesn't go up, and then Slocum looks to clear, and it bounces off of cheek and goes behind for a goal kick. And that's another virtue of that daft offside law, if indeed he was off, and I think he had gone a little bit early. The linesman's flag didn't go up there, and that nearly was to Notts County's detriment.
Yeah, that's it. It is a daft law. I've said it many a time this season, but there's one time when it almost catches Notts out, because then they say he's not offside on the sort of second phase of play, if you like, but defenders end up playing a ball that they wouldn't have done if the player wasn't there in the offside position in the first place, if you get my meaning. So yeah, strange rule that's got to be looked at, but then again there's a fair few things that need looking at in football.
Indeed there is. 9 minutes on the clock. You listen to BBC Radio Nottingham as Carl Wootton tries to win a header. McCrory with a high foot. The referee will blow his whistle and give Bromley a free kick about 5 or 10 yards inside the Notts half. And it's a number of free kicks in the early stages of this game. Many of those have gone the way of Bromley so far. I can't make any complaints about that, but with every time you concede a free kick against this Bromley team, it provides them with another opportunity to pile the ball forward and get the big men forward as well. You know, Bush is way over 6 feet tall. Kyle Wootton's having to match him up, but Bush is even bigger than him, not just in height, but in probably bulk, physicality as well. And Wootton is no shrinking violet, as you'll know if you've ever seen him. Here comes the ball forward, up into that Notts penalty area, flicked goalwards by a Bromley head, but behind for a goal kick. It was Jack Holland who Got the header there, but goal kick it is. 10 minutes on the clock, 1-0 to Notts. There has been an incident at Field Mill. Jake. Tell me. Advantage Stags, you think. Goal kick again here. It's not the same one. We've had a brief passage of play which came to nothing for either side, and it's another goal kick for Sam Slocum to take. Both of the centre halves for Notts. Interestingly, and I may be playing it fast and loose with the term interestingly, dropping deep there and going wide to try and draw the Bromley strikers onto them and maybe create a little bit of room in behind. Sent them away, and the long clearance in the end has gone straight out for a throw-in just inside the Bromley half. What have you made of the first 11 minutes of this game?
Yeah, it's been played at a really good tempo. Bromley come out there, they're getting around the pitch, aren't they? We've seen they're putting men forward at all opportunities they get, whether that's in possession or even out of possession. You talk about a high press, they're trying to stop Notts playing out from the back. And I'd just maybe like to see Notts with the 1-goal lead now, just look to turn Bromley around a little bit so they can't get sort of settled in Notts' half. You know, push them back towards their own goal. Make sure the two sort of further forward attacking midfield players of Bromley, Bingham and Rees, get pushed back towards the halfway line. We saw them there when a goal kick for Sam Slocum, and they're almost 10 yards outside the Notts penalty area, along with the 3 forwards as well. So they've got 5 men within 40 yards of the Notts goal. I'd like to see Notts just go a little bit more direct, just try and turn them around, hit a couple of channel balls and get the defence of Bromley turn around back towards their own goal and consequently bring the midfield back onto them a little bit more. Stoppage
in play here. I think that's Michael Cheek who's down on the far side. He's Bromley's top goal scorer. He went for an aerial collision just a moment or two ago. The linesman's flag was up for offside, and the linesman, God bless him, has stayed with his flag up, rooted to the spot ever since. Can he not take his flag down until play restarts? He's going to have a terribly sore right shoulder if he's not careful.
Strange. The ref stopped the play. Obviously, Cheek's getting some treatment, but the linesman is still stood with his flag up. And there he's put it down now. Yeah.
Other people picked up on that as well and cheered it.
Almost like he'd forgot what he was doing there. He just froze a moment in time. They was enjoying that.
I don't know if that's another one of those daft rules, though. Is he not allowed to put his flag back down again?
Well, he must be. He has done now, and nothing's changed. So I think he just forgot himself there. The official, bless him.
Anyway. By the by, there are 9 3 o'clock or 3:01 kickoffs today on FA Cup third round day. By the way, Cheek is fine. He's back up to his feet and is over on the far side. Just took a bit of a knock to the head. I think he was jumping with Conor Rawlinson, but he's like 36% tin by this point, is Rawlinson, so it won't have hurt him as much with all the black eyes and stitches and everything else that's befallen his way of late. And Cheek's back on and back on the pitch, and we are back underway. And Alex Lacey is on the ball. Of those 9 3 o'clock or 3:01 kickoffs this afternoon in the FA Cup third round, Watford are beating Tranmere 1-0. Norwich are a goal up at Preston, and Carlisle are 1 up at Cardiff. Michael Doyle is the last line of defence for Notts, and he hooks the ball away with his left foot into the Derek Pavis stand, of which we sit in, albeit the ball was nowhere near us, many rows beneath us and down to the right hand side, and it'll be a throw-in for Bromley. Kizzy and Bingham exchange a couple of quick passes, and now Bingham plays the ball long into the penalty area. Rose will try to head it away straight in towards Bingham. Oh, that could have gone anywhere. He tries his luck from the edge of the 18-yard box, takes a wicked deflection on the way through. Slocum this time rooted to the spot, just hoping the ball would go behind and not in his own net, and it has done for a corner kick.
Yeah, it was Michael Cheek in the end the ball dropped to on the edge of the box. It was a poor defensive header from Mitch Rose, heading it to centrally, just dropping on the edge of the box, and Cheek hitting it with his right foot on the volley. As you say, it may well have been Rose who got the deflection on it as well, but for a moment it looked like Sam Slocum was done by another deflection.
Frankie Raymond to take the in-swinging corner. It's not a bad one, edge of the 6-yard box, shot back goalwards, and that's a brilliant clearance, I think, off the goal line from Alex Lacey. It might well have snuck in at the near post had he not been there. It'll be another corner kick.
Oh, again, danger again. Alex Lacey will not know from this angle whether that was heading goal bound, but he had to be there, taking no chances. A great block, and turns it away for a corner, this time from Bromley's attacking left. But you've got to say, although not to one to the good, it's Bromley are looking the more threatening team.
Yeah, certainly is the case. Bit of a delay as they wait to get the ball back. We've played 15 minutes now, and Notts continue to lead through that Wes Thomas goal that came inside 3 minutes, and another in-swinging corner on the way. Not a bad one. Keeper comes for it, could have caught it, but punched it instead, as keepers so often try to do nowadays. And now Notts are struggling to clear their lines at the second port of call, as they will now eventually do through Richard Brindley, and they'll have to get out and create some space. They don't half throw men forward, this Bromley side. They continue to do so. A bit of a nudge there on Alex Lacey as he attempted to jump by Chris Bush, and just an example of it there. Now Notts have cleared the ball up towards the halfway line. That is usually the cue for the centre halves to sprint back as quick as they possibly can. They choose not to. They stay forward and try to make themselves weapons offensively.
Yeah, absolutely that. Yeah, they're going to keep men forward, keep the centre halves forward, the big men, because they know they're not going to mess about with it. Bromley, every chance they get, it's going to go into the penalty area, and that's why Notts have got to be brave, keep a high line, not allow them to be pinned back inside their penalty area. So they did well there, Notts, when they repelled that corner. They got out, and then when the ball came back in, they're challenging for headers 25 yards from goal rather than in the penalty area. Just
to illustrate the point even more so, they've had a free kick there 5 yards outside of their own 18-yard box, and still they've thrown so many men forward. Notts now battling to try and play their way out through the middle. They're not going to do it with a ball like that from Richard Brindley. I've seen on Twitter today people saying, well, Brindley's really going to have a good game today, as he either wins a throw-in or a free kick on the far side, because he's managed to come into the team at the expense of Dion Kelly-Evans, and many people rated Kelly-Evans' performance at Maidenhead on New Year's Day. Whether or not he's not in the team today because he's picked up a slight knock or something, I'm not so sure. As far as I understand it, he is fit. As Notts, again, just a bit sloppy with their distribution, as they have been throughout the first 16-17 minutes, apart from really that counter-attack which got them that goal. And if it wasn't for that goal, and I know we're talking sort of pie in the sky stuff here, and ifs and ands, but if it weren't for that goal, you'd have to say Bromley have had the better start in this game, all hands up.
Yeah, absolutely. They're looking dangerous, Bromley. They're lively, they're getting about the game, and they're throwing men forward. They're putting they're not mixing it up at all, are they? It's going into the penalty area. That's exactly how they play. They make you defend, ask questions. But if Notts can get the quality going, there's plenty of space and opportunity to exploit that, as they did for the goal.
The Bromley manager Neil Smith stands on the edge of his technical area, barking instructions out to his front men. Meanwhile, Enzio's on the ball, tries to square it to McCrory. Probably the right idea, just maybe a touch rushed at the moment, Notts, when they are in possession. Bromley are really getting about them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, for those that saw the football in the week, Chris Wilder, having played Liverpool, champions elect in the Premier League, he says they work their socks off. You've got to have the humility to do that work in and out of possession. And that's exactly what Bromley are doing at this moment in time, in and out of possession, working their socks off, and Notts have got to match it.
It looks like Bromley are wearing one of the old Liverpool kits, one of those ones that used to dwarf Michael Owen. Here they come down the right-hand side, juggling the ball inside the Notts penalty area, deflects some pinballs around and ends up in the gloves of Sam Slocum. Will probably end the Liverpool comparisons at the kit, I think.
I think we're doing Bromley a favour there, yeah, to be fair, but they have started really lively. That time Josh Rees, who's down as one of the three midfield players, with him and Billy Bingham playing in advance, and it's the number 8 Raymond who's the sort of holding link in that midfield. But he's finding himself right up there in the Notts penalty area alongside the 3 forwards of Coulson, Cheek and Williamson. So, as we say, it's almost becoming a front 5 at times from Bromley. Now, if Notts can break through that with quality, then they're going to have a chance to get at this Bromley back 4, but they've got to use the ball better than they have.
Well, here is Wootton down the right-hand side, turns away from his man and gives it to Brindley. First time cross towards the back post, header away and behind from Kizzy, and for a corner kick it will be. And just like, I think it was Maidenhead the other day, their best sort of form of defence was attack, because defensively they looked a bit weak at times, particularly here at Meadow Lane, not so much down at York Road. That appears to be the case today.
That's it. If you can get the ball up to a striker, hold it up and get runners beyond, then you can get at this Bromley back 4, as Notts have shown in the opening minutes, and they very nearly did again then. 5
Notts players inside the Bromley penalty area, and NCO has come across to take the in-swinging corner. I think they'll do well to win many headers inside that penalty area today, just because of the size of so many of the Bromley defenders. The referee's keeping an eye on a lot of the pushing. Here comes the ball into that 18-yard box, headed away from the edge of the 6-yard box. Mitch Rose will run across to the far touchline and shepherd it out for a throw-in against Luke Coulson, who used to be at Fleetwood and Barnet. Rose fancies a long throw-in with 20 minutes on the clock here. He'll try to launch one into the sort of general area where Conor Rawlinson is standing. Osborne's forward, so's Wootton. Rawlinson is the target, flicks it on. It bubbles around on the edge of the 6-yard box, and in the end, Joe Kizzy gets a little bit lucky as the keeper comes and grabs the ball before any black and white shirt could get near.
Yeah, he certainly did get a little bit lucky. I think it was Rawlinson just got a little slight glance on the throw from Mitch Rose, and it dropped and bounced up onto Kizzy's chest. And he was fortunate that it just bounced off him and in the direction of Ryan Huddart, his own goalkeeper, in his 6-yard box, rather than any surrounding Notts player waiting for any bits.
Played just over 20 minutes here now at Meadow Lane. Reminder that Matchday back with you tomorrow on BBC Radio Nottingham from 1:30. That one live from Stamford Bridge in West London. It's the third round of the FA Cup. Chelsea against Nottingham Forest. For that one, a 2 o'clock kickoff, or 2:01 kickoff. Doyle up towards Wootton, who couldn't quite take the sting out of the Irishman's pass into his foot, and so concedes possession back to Bromley, but Notts now have it once again with 21 minutes gone. Doyle looking at his options in front of him. Wootton comes short for it, and this time controls it touch better. Goes back to Doyle, who now finds Conor Rawlinson, and Notts look to cycle the ball from left to right. It's with Brindley, who was at Bromley last season. Back to Rawlinson once more, looking to play a long one up over the top. It's a brilliantly weighted ball, great touch as well. Can Thomas score? Will he? No, it's gone just wide. The keeper came rushing out at Wes Thomas, and he did just enough to save it, and the ball went inches wide of his post and behind for a corner. What a ball.
Yeah, very nearly a second ball. We've given Rawlinson a little bit of stick at times for his distribution, but he's just produced one of the passes of the season there from inside his own half, 40-50 yards over the top into the path of Wes Thomas, running through beyond the defence. Good touch from Wes Thomas, but unfortunately his goal-bound toe-poked effort hit the keeper's legs and spun up and just a foot or so wide of that goal in front of the Kop.
Corner taken. Doyle tries to swing the ball in from a short corner, and it's deflected and gone behind, but I don't think the referee even counted it because there might have been some pushing and shoving. So unsure as to whether or not to say that Notts are onto their third corner of the game or still on their second. The pushing and shoving continues, of course. All of this a few yards away from the penalty spot, and the referee's keeping a close eye on it. Bet that the whistle will go shortly. Here comes the ball into the area towards the back post. Surely a penalty. The linesman's flagging for it. The linesman's giving it. Surely a penalty, and it is, as Lacey is wrestled to the ground at the back post. It's as clear a penalty as you're going to see, and yet the referee wasn't going to give it, and he was closer to the incident than the linesman. Fortunately, the linesman had the bottle to give it. Yeah,
it was Jack Holland, the number 6 for Bromley. It just a high floated corner to the back, beyond the back post even, and Holland was up against Lacey. It looked to all the world that Holland had his arms around Lacey. Lacey hits the deck. The referee wasn't going to do anything. The linesman on the far side, credit to him, he flagged straight away. And Notts County have got a penalty and a chance to go 2-0 ahead.
Big moment in the game this. Mitchell Rose has gone across and grabbed the ball, and as he told us just before Christmas at Halifax, he's got a pretty good record from the penalty spot. In fact, he was very, very proud of it, that he was 13 from 13 penalties, including that 13th being at Halifax. That's the last time Notts had a penalty, and Mitch Rose tucked it away that day. And with nearly 24 minutes played here at Meadow Lane and Notts County leading Bromley by a 1-0, can he double the lead and make it 14 from 14 this afternoon? The Bromley players are still inside the penalty area, but Mitchell Rose will not score. No, it comes to Enzio, and he sticks it over the top. The keeper might have got his fingertips to it to turn the ball onto the post, and then Enzio following in quickly from behind. He then volleys it over the top and into the Kop, and that is a massive opportunity for Notts that's gone wasted.
Yeah, how costly is that going to be? Mitch Rose, you talked about his good record. Well, that's, all by the by. He didn't stick that one in. Went with his right foot, couple of pace run up, went to his left, but he got too low onto the base of the post. I don't think the keeper got anything on it from the original shot. I think it ricocheted off the post onto the keeper, and then as Enzio was following up, managed to get there first time, but lashed it over the bar when he was under pressure. A massive opportunity goes begging for Notts. Will they rue that?
Well, we shall see. 24, nearly 25 minutes have now been played. Notts still leading by a 1-0 in this game. Enzio's got it on the left wing. will win a throw-in. We'll pause to take breath shortly to find out how Mansfield are getting on against 10-man Grimsby. Grimsby were down to 10 men with only about 9 minutes gone in that game. It's up towards Thomas now, who's just probably 10 yards in front of the Bromley penalty area, and he loses possession and Bromley have it. They come away down the right-hand side. It's with Kizzy. Enzio wins it back, although as I say that, Bromley now put it out for a Notts throw in Billy Bingham with a slide tackle. 25 minutes on the clock.
Got to hold the ball up better. Notts front two, Carl Wootton, Wes Thomas. There's a couple of balls just been into them. Got to hold it up, allow Notts to build. If they don't do that, it's going to be Bromley coming forward all the while. Got to keep hold of the ball. Fundamentals of centre forward play.
It's a bit hot potato at times from Notts so far today, and Bromley have got another free kick to take. This one 5 yards inside the Notts half, and just in front of where Neil Ardley stands in his technical area. So only just into the Notts half is this, but that was nothing to dissuade the Bromley players from throwing all the big men forward, everybody forward, up towards the 6-yard box, and Slocum punches it away, but it's not cleared all that far. Edge of the area it goes. The shot goalwards there from Coulson. Danger still not cleared yet, as the ball is kind of head tennised around just inside that 18-yard box. Now to Rawlinson, who volleys it clear down the right-hand side and out for a Bromley throw-in. I'm nervous every time they've got a set piece. Yeah,
that's it, and I'm certainly nervous now. I'll get it out of the way now that Notts have got a penalty down one end.
Yes, I thought that.
How often in football do you think that these things even themselves up? And with Bromley throwing so many bodies into the Notts penalty area, you can bet your bottom dollar somebody's going to be hitting the deck at some point and claims for a penalty up the other end.
Well, the referee didn't want to give that one. It was only the linesman's flag and intervention that saw that penalty for Notts, won by Alex Lacey and missed by Mitchell Rose. Long throw again, I do mean long, into the area, and it's going to go all the way in. That's gone all the way in, and I'm not sure that it ever took a touch until it crossed the goal line. Well, the Bromley players are celebrating like it did do, but I don't think that ever touched a player.
It's a goal kick.
Yeah, goal kick. It never touched a player. It went in the back of the net, but it was helped in to the back of the net by a Bromley player. I think it was Joe Kizzy, after the ball had crossed the goal line, and so Notts have a massive let-off, and it's a goal kick and not a goal.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I mean, they're not making it clear, the ref and the linesman between them. This was the linesman at not the end that gave Notts the penalty, but this is the linesman that was stood in his position with his flag up for a couple of minutes when Cheek was down. This time he wasn't giving us any signal other than standing opposite the 6-yard box, indicating that the long throw from Bush evaded everybody. Sam Slocum had got pinned on the line and couldn't get towards it, and it bounced into the Notts goal. As you say, whoever it was, Kizzy maybe at the far post tried to head it, but obviously already over the line. And the result of that is a goal kick to Notts.
Clear as mud. Bromley have got it on the left-hand side with their fullback Sam Wood, and with 28 minutes on the clock here, Notts have probably got to get a grip of things, because as things stand, it looks like an equaliser could be coming for Bromley as Enzio loses it. There's a shot goalwards from Rees, which is, well, it's never going to trouble the goal, but it has taken a deflection, and Bromley have got a third corner of the game. It's nothing else. It's been a really entertaining first 28 minutes of the game, not without incident.
No, we don't have this many incidents in most games, let alone the opening 28 minutes of one. But Bromley have set a really high tempo. Notts have got to match it. They've been asked questions. Ironically, Bromley probably been the better team of the two, but it's Notts who are 1 goal to the good and have missed a penalty with a chance to go 2-0 up. But as it is, it's a Bromley corner from their attacking right, and again they will load all the bodies into the penalty area. Yeah,
it'll be an in-swinging corner as well, taken by Wood, and at the near post, diving header from one of the Bromley players, which has come back off of a Notts player and gone out for another corner kick. So it'll be another in-swinger from away to our right-hand side at the corner of the ground where the family stand meets the Derek Pavis, and the fullback Sam Wood has come across to take the in-swinger, but not yet, because the referee has spotted some pushing and shoving inside the penalty area between Joe Kizzy and Damien McCrory, and it comes back to what you were saying, Mark Stallard, a few moments ago about referees evening things up. Notts will not only have to be diligent in their defending, but also very, very careful not to give the referee any opportunity, any excuse. Here comes the in-swinger towards the near post, cut out back there by Brindley at that near post, comes back out to this near side. Wood's cross is blocked, comes out to Bingham. He's going to have a goal with his left foot. What a save! It's a brilliant save from Sam Slocum up to his left-hand side. That was destined perhaps for the top corner until Slocum intervened. Another corner coming.
Unbelievable save, yeah. Billy Bingham let fly from 25 yards with his left foot, struck it beautifully. It's going towards that near top corner. Sam Slocum flings himself to his left, gets a left-hand fingertips to it, turns it over, and again another corner to Bromley from their attacking right, but the pressure is building. Yeah,
more danger. A fifth corner of this first half. More like that, please. That's not a good one. Osborne able to head the tame curled corner away, but problem is anytime you head it out for a throw-in that's anywhere within kind of, I don't know, 30-40 yards of the 18-yard box, Chris Bush is able to launch a long throw into the penalty area, which is just as dangerous as a corner. Here's another one to the penalty spot area. It's headed away by Rawlinson and then helped on its way by Osborne. That's a poor pass from the Bromley man, and it's found Wes Thomas. Osborne wants it, but Thomas is going to take it. Down the left-hand side he goes. He's then brought down by Bush, and Bush is going to get a yellow card for that. Thomas was certainly waiting for the contact to come. It did eventually. They want a lot of it, but it means a free kick for Notts about 10 to 15 yards away from the edge of the Bromley penalty area, and I saw the Notts skipper Michael Doyle just motion to his teammates. Let's settle it down.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. Just experienced heads. This tempo's playing into Bromley's hands. Notts just need to regroup, just settle down a little bit. You know, that just goes to show again there. I mean, Wes Thomas is breaking halfway into the Bromley half from that long throw forward. You know, Bromley can be got at on the counter-attack. Notts have almost got to, not sucker punch them, but almost play with a mentality of almost like an away team here. Bromley are going to throw men forward and put the bodies in the box and put the ball in at every opportunity, but Notts have got to be ready to spring with pace when they get the ball like they did there. Canal Rawlinson making another vital headed clearance.
Certainly seems like there are goals in this game. 32 minutes on the clock. Notts leading by 1-0. It came with just 3 minutes on the clock through Wes Thomas. Here's a ball from Enzio, which was more like a shot in the end. It had enough pace on it to go all the way through to the goalkeeper, who claimed it easily. Meanwhile, as Huddart tries to kickstart a Bromley counter, Damien McCrory wins a header, and now Enzio's back there as one of the last lines of defence, which you don't often see or say. And he wins a header, and now Mitch Rose does likewise. Now the ball touches the turf, but it's not long before it's back up in the air once more. There's another header, and now a little clumsy nudge from Mitchell Rose in the back of Bingham, and it'll be a free kick for Bromley just inside their own half. And Frankie Raymond, the kind of anchor, the holding midfielder, while the rest of the front five go forward. He was going to take it, but he's left it for big Chris Bush, the man with the long throw, the man who got booked just a moment ago. He's got 5 goals to his name so far this season, 3 from his central defensive partner Jack Holland. There are 4 from Kizzy at right fullback, so just goes to show that they do throw bodies forward with reckless abandon. Long ball forward, this time from Bush, goes straight through and into the gloves of Sam Slocum. 33 minutes have been played here, and Slocum bowls it out down the left-hand side to McCrory, up to Enzio, and now to Michael Doyle. Doyle will switch it across to Rawlinson. Rawlinson with a bit of space, he'll be able to run out of defence and find Brindley on the right-hand side. He's held up though by a Bromley man. Bromley in all red here this afternoon, Notts in black and white, as you'd expect, with the black shorts and the white socks. Now Doyle forced to go across to Conor Rawlinson. We will check in with Jake, I promise, very, very soon. Just feels like any time we leave this game at the moment, something could happen. We've had a missed penalty from Notts, we've had a Notts goal through Wes Thomas, and we've had a goal for Bromley that didn't count because it was from a throw-in, and the throw-in went straight in the back of the net from about 45 yards away, and nobody touched it on the way through. Bromley players were celebrating like they should have had an equaliser though. It's with Williamson down the right-hand side, touches it back, and now out for a throw-in. That's going to be a Notts throw as well. At this juncture we will fly up the A60 to Jake. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I've been meaning to go to him, but there's just been loads happening. Tajik, 10 minutes until the break here, plus a bit of stoppage time at Meadow Lane. Not still leading by a 1-0, but Bromley have got another corner, a 6th of the first half. And this time it'll be an outswinger from away to our right-hand side. The last 2 from this corner have been in-swingers, but Luke Coulson has come across to take a right-footed outswinger. All the big men forward again, as you'd expect. Ball in, headed away, comes out to Bingham, will shoot, deflects away, helped goalwards by a header from Kizzy, but straight into the gloves of Sam Slocum.
Yeah, again, just danger again from a set play. You know, knocks hearts in the mouths all the time, and to go back to that missed penalty from Mitch Rose. You know, how vital will that be? I think a second goal for Notts just will help them settle in terms of the game. But at this moment in time, Bromley are all over them like a rash when they go forward, looking lively, not allowing Notts a second on the ball. And that's why it's vital for Notts to try and get on the ball, try and switch play when they can, just to try and pick up possession in them pockets of space so they can just take a breather.
Well, with 28 minutes on the clock, I looked at it and I went, half-time can't come quickly enough. And with 36 on the clock, it feels the same exact way as Rawlinson blasts the ball into Billy Bingham, and it almost comes back to immediately haunt Rawlinson, but fortunately Bromley weren't able to capitalise, and Notts have it with Lacey. Meanwhile, I think Bingham has either lost a contact lens, or that ball going forward has cracked him in the nose, and maybe there's a bit of blood, or maybe I think it might be a bit of blood just on the hairline, maybe, from Bingham. The referee just stopped the game briefly to make sure that he was okay and didn't need to receive any further treatment. Mitchell Rose, meanwhile, has just been over to the near touchline to receive some instructions from Neil Ardley, which he's now transferring over to Michael Doyle. What do you think he might have been saying to his midfielders there, Sal?
Well, I think that's it. I think he's trying to get them to get on the ball and maybe switch play if they can.
It's wonderful from Wootton. Cheeky little back heel, gives it to Osborne, who shoots from range with his left foot. Doesn't go too far wide. That's delightful from big Carl Wootton.
Yeah, good little back heel, wasn't it? A little bit of something from nothing. Spotting the run of Sam Osborne coming in from that right-hand side, gets it onto his left foot, 25 yards out, and we know he can do that from that sort of distance. That time just 3 or 4 yards wide of the goal, but a good strike again. Again, more danger at either end. I mean, it really is. You've got no idea of predicting the final score of this game, because both teams look dangerous when they go forward.
Well, in 69% of Bromley's games so far this season, there have been more than 2.5 goals, and you're thinking, how do you get a half goal? Just it means 3 at least. Baldwin on the ball for Notts, goes back to Lacey, who in turn finds Sam Slocum out to Rawlinson. These two sides have met only once, and that was back in September, 21st of September. Lovely sunny afternoon as Wes Thomas has just been pulled back by Bush just outside of the penalty area, as Thomas was only making a nuisance of himself. And Thomas now says to the linesman, well, you not see that? You're only 10 yards away. Maybe a bit optimistic, Stan?
I think a little bit optimistic, yeah. When the ball's like that out of reach and going out of play, you very rarely get them sort of things as the two, not striker and the Bromley defender, come together. But
so much for the Strikers Union, Stan. I was expecting you to be right behind Wes Thomas.
The Strikers Union will be in play when it comes to something positive, not just keeping it in play like that. But Bush has got to be careful. He's certainly already been booked for clipping Thomas's heels, and the Notts frontman is giving him problems.
All that size, and he's a real weapon with the long throw, but perhaps for all that size he gives up a little bit of pace. Lacey gets his clearance a touch wrong. It comes off of his knee at a funny angle and out for a throw-in, and you know what that means. Bush is going to come across and launch another long throw into that penalty area. I'd love to see how far he can throw it if he wants to, because he's one of those that it's almost circus-like how far he can launch the ball, and he takes a long old run-up as well. He's right next to the advertising hoardings. Here comes the long throw, drilled into the penalty area, flicked away by Rawlinson. Danger not cleared just yet. Rose could clear it, but instead Slocum pushes him away and says, no, instead I'll have that at my feet, thank you very much, and now he picks it up. 6 minutes to go until the break.
Yeah, I mean, it is an absolute, I mean, you hear a lot of times, don't you, somebody talking about a long throw, it's as good as a cross. Well, that certainly is. It comes in flat with pace, and it can reach almost to the back post. That occasion, Notts defending it really well, which they have done on the majority of the balls into the box. It's just when you get asked to defend so many balls into the box, you fear that one is going to drop for a Bromley foot or a Bromley head and going to cause problems.
Ball up to Wootton, who takes a touch away from Bush, but in the end it was just a touch too strong, and it's gone behind for a Bromley goal kick. 40 minutes are on the clock here. Notts lead by a goal to nil. Wes Thomas's goal with only 3 minutes on the clock. 20 minutes after that, Alex Lacey was brought down inside the penalty area by Jack Holland, and it led to a penalty that Mitch Rose ultimately missed. And then a few minutes after that, Bromley had the ball in the back of the Notts net direct from a throw-in, and as much as Bromley protested and said that it got a touch on the way through, the referee and linesman said that it didn't, and from our angle up here in the Derek Paver stand, it looked like it didn't as well, and so the goal didn't count, and the scoreline stays at 1-0 to Notts. They could desperately do with getting to half-time with that one goal lead intact, as Wootton takes a touch out of his feet and loses it. Kizzy gets away from him. Enzio falls at his feet, which allows Wootton to get back in front of him, and he tries to clear it away down the Notts left, the Bromley right. Doesn't really have too much success in doing so, as Raymond plays the ball up to the edge of that Notts penalty area. Strong header one in the air by Cheek. Rose gets in front of his man, wins a tackle, and then loses the ball and brings a Bromley man down, and the referee says we'll play an advantage, and the ball's knocked long by Bush. Again up to the edge of that Notts penalty area. Again it's flicked across the edge of the 18-yard box, and now it's with Enzio though. Enzio takes the touch out of his feet, finds Doyle out on this left-hand side, and Nardley says get it forward, up in the direction of your two front men, who really haven't had the ball at their feet enough in this game, and when they have had the ball up towards them, they've not done enough to hold the ball up. Not that time they had the opportunity to.
Yeah, but that's starting positions there. They've got to be a little bit closer together if they can do it. Michael Doyle, I say the game is 100 mile an hour pretty much, isn't it? There's not a lot of time for players to pick passes, so you're hitting areas. That's where you've got to rely on players making run, being in touch with each other, helping your teammates out.
Doyle on the ball with Wes Thomas on the far side. 42 minutes about to tick over here. Still 0-0 between Mansfield and Grimsby. Grimsby down to 10 men. Remember, meanwhile, in the FA Cup, Norwich are leading by 3-0 at Preston. It's 1-0 to Blackpool at Reading. 3-0 at home to Watford against Tranmere. And Carlisle are still leading at Cardiff by 1-0. Goalless in the other 3:01 kickoffs on third round Saturday in the FA Cup. Reminder that tomorrow Forest are at Chelsea, and Matchday is with you from 1:30 on BBC Radio. Nottingham Panthers have got Dundee this evening as Mitchell Rose flies into a blood and thunder tackle that he comes out on top of, wins the ball, and Raymond is certainly feeling the after effects of that. Meanwhile, Osborne's been done on the left wing for Bromley by Coulson, who turns and pirouettes and then plays the ball over the top down the left-hand touchline. Rees tries to keep it in. He does, but he can't keep hold of the ball, and Notts will manage to clear up towards halfway. But again, it's not a brilliant clearance. It's not overly convincing, and it's only going to come straight back towards them once again as Bromley try to find an equaliser in the last few minutes. They won't do on this occasion because Michael Cheek was a touch too physical with McCrory. McCrory went down. I think it's wise and experienced play from the fullback for Notts, who buys the free kick and buys his side a bit of time. They can waste a few seconds and they'll edge ever closer to that half-time whistle that they long for. Yeah,
he did well to win the free kick, McCrory, but he's taking a little bit of a gamble. Cheek just on the inside of him, chasing that ball down. And if the ref doesn't see that as a free kick, then Cheek's in the penalty area. So good job. Well, the linesman flagged and the ref blew for that. But again, just goes to show Bromley going to cause problems at every opportunity. Not just throwing it long. Of course, they are going direct, but they're quick. They've got a bit of pace about them, a bit of mobility. Not giving Notts time on the ball in any area of the pitch.
Nearly 44 minutes have been played. Doyle doesn't win a header. Lacey comes forward and sweeps up in behind. Rose is involved as well. Osborne's trying to win it back for Notts. That'll be a free kick on the halfway line. They want to take it quickly. Osborne won't let them, and the referee says the ball was rolling anyway. I think it's probably fair to say Tom Reeves isn't exactly endearing himself to the travelling 150 or so Bromley fans on the far side. There was a chorus of "You don't know what you're doing" just a few moments ago. He's probably not got a huge amount wrong, but he has given a penalty away against Bromley today, albeit completely right to do so, and it was the linesman that gave it. Meanwhile, Bush is trying to nick a few yards on the halfway line, and the referees made him go all the way back to where it should be taken from. And Bush will now take said long free kick with his left foot. Surprised he's not up there in the mix. He's the biggest man on the pitch, but here comes the long free kick, and it is going to cause a bit of chaos as Wootton then tries to hook it clear, straight back into the mix once more. Wootton wins a header, Brindley wins a header, now falls to Wood, who lifts it over the top. Rawlinson back there, it's going to fall to Williamson. Can the keeper keep it out? Yes, he does. Down goes Cheek, he wants a penalty, and the referee waves it away immediately. Cheek went down very, very easily. He's now being accused of diving by Damien McCrory, and if that's the case, where's the yellow? And you could argue that Coulson should also go into the referee's book as well.
Yeah, he could do. He's just letting the ref know, not happy with that decision. But I tell you what, in the midst of it, again, Sam Slocum makes another vital save. Yeah. The ball bobbling around. Nobody could get clean contact. I think it was Williamson in there just poking out a right foot from 7 or 8 yards out, and it more or less hit Slocum, but he's in the right place, stayed big, got enough of a touch on it to deflect it away from goal. And as I say, Cheek threw himself down in the aftermath of that. Just wonder if the pressure building on the referee to give Bromley something will tell later on in this game. We hope not.
Michael Doyle has the ball on the left-hand side, gives it to McCrory, tries to slide it forward and find Thomas, but it only finds a red shirt instead. 2 minutes have been added on. We've played about 35-40 seconds of those 2 minutes. So Neil Ardley nearly at that point where he can get his players into his changing room. Another long ball forward into that Notts penalty area. Alex Lacey there flicking the ball behind. A 7th corner of this first half to Bromley. Not always the fairest reflection, but I think it probably is a fair reflection this afternoon as to where the game has been played.
Well, I think we saw the difference. I mean, we talked about Solihull a week or so ago going direct, but not really causing problems, not throwing men forward. When it's Bromley are direct, but when they're doing it well with players forward, they look very, very dangerous. Completely different.
Inside the second minute now of the 2 added on. Wootton is doing his best to try and keep hold of Bush. Here comes the ball into the area, headed by Kizzy, back across goal and behind for a goal kick. It's all about being effective, isn't it, Stow? You talk about that all the time. Notts, all the patient play, all the possession, all the passing, only done well when it's effective. Same applies for the long ball stuff, and Bromley do it effectively, hence why they're 3rd in the league.
Absolutely, and there's Kizzy with another header towards goal. Okay, 5 or 6 yards wide of the target, but again, looking dangerous, looking like a threat. That's the difference. You can play long ball, you can play short passing football. If you don't do it effectively, if you don't do it well, it will not cause anybody problems. Any decent team can cope with it, but when it's done well, whether that's long ball or short, it's difficult.
Well, it may not have looked like it or felt like it at times in that first half, but Notts have managed to get to the break. We're back underway. Notts knocked the ball long down the right-hand side. Kyle Wootton was the target, but it was headed away by Bush before it could reach him. That should be a free kick early doors in this second half that Mitchell Rose will take, and now there's pushing and shoving, and Mitch Rose wanted to give Bingham a little shove, and then Bingham wrapped his arm around Rose's neck, and nothing in it really, and the free kick is still to be taken by Michael Doyle. This one about 10 yards or so inside the Bromley half and just to the right of centre, but close enough for some of the big players to go forward. Lacey and Rawlinson have gone up there, and Enzio will take it with his right foot. 40 seconds played in this, the second half. Floats it up towards that penalty area, and it's headed goalwards by Lacey, but rather tamely and from a long way out, so it's an easy claim for the goalkeeper, Ryan Huddard. What do you reckon Neil Ardley will have been saying to his team, Mark Stellard, at half-time?
Well, I think he's got to keep them competitive, try and keep a higher line, as high a line as possible, but when in possession of the ball, try and retain possession, just try and have a little bit more quality and to break off.
Oh, danger there as Coulson turns and swivels on a sixpence and drags his shot just a little bit wide, but not by far at all, maybe only a foot at most, as he tried to find Sam Slocum's bottom right corner.
Yeah, very, very close then. Something out of nothing as well. The ball just bobbled across the Notts penalty area, and Coulson did well, as you say, controlled it on the half volley and turned in one motion and swiveled his right foot shot only about a yard or so wide of that near post.
Rose is now brought down by Bingham about 6 yards inside his own half. Free kick every day of the week, and maybe a touch more. The referee is getting told exactly that by Thomas and Doyle, but Mr. Reeves will keep his cards in his pocket for the time being, and it will be a free kick that Doyle will take in a moment. What you want is almost a kind of staggered start to the second half. You don't want Bromley flying out the traps and starting this second half like they ended the first, because that was only going to end in one way at one point, and that was in a Bromley goal.
Yeah, that's right, but Notts have got to control the tempo, try and get on the ball a little bit more, as I was saying what Neil Ardley will want at half-time is we want them to be in possession more, and by doing that, that helps you dictate the pattern, dictates the tempo and the pace that the game is played at, and by Notts playing their possession football, it can just take a little bit of sting out of any Bromley momentum that builds up from getting the ball forward so often.
It's a half that needs managing from a Notts perspective. 2.5 minutes of that second 45 have now been played. It's still 1-0 to Notts here on Matchday on BBC Radio Nottingham. Back with you tomorrow for Chelsea against Forest. 1:30 on your radio, 2 o'clock kickoff, 2:01 kickoff down at Stamford Bridge. Bromley look to clear the ball away down their right hand side, and with a big booming clearance do exactly that. Lacey gets his head underneath it and nods it back in the opposite direction. Cheeks the target there, and he hits the turf and wants a free kick that he's not going to get. Sam Slocum will clear it away. I did think for a moment that the referee might have been tempted to give one, but as it is, Notts are still in possession with Mitchell Rose, who'll go all the way back towards Sam Slocum. He spoke to Dion Kelly-Evans yesterday, Stan, and he was sort of saying, give us an ugly win any day of the week rather than an attractive one. Neil Ardley will hope this second 45 is dead boring, as Notts get unlucky there as Wes Thomas was through and over the top, but the referee gave a free kick against his strike partner Kyle Wootton, who was occupying one of the other centre halves. Is he a little unlucky?
Yeah, a little bit as well. I think Kyle Wootton's been adjudged to have bundled Jack Holland over, and the referee blew, and as the ball bounced beyond the two of them, Wes Thomas was making that run in behind and would have been clean through on the Bromley goal, but ref's whistle went early, and so stopped anything before it became apparent. Rawlinson heads clear. Again, a few shouts for a free kick to Bromley, I think this time from the fans over there, and now the Notts fans in the Kop responding by booing. And it's with Cheek, 25 yards from goal, drills one, bottom corner, 1-1. What a strike that is from Michael Cheek out of the blue. The ball breaks to him and he catches it with the laces absolutely perfectly. 49 minutes have been played. Cheek has his 15th of the season. It's Notts 1, Bromley 1. Yeah, great strike from Michael Cheek, but we said he was the danger man before the start of the game, and he's been a thorn in the side. He's always in the game, although he's not the biggest, but he's quite a physical presence. He's tidy, he's lively, and he always looks like he's looking to cause some mischief in the opponent's half. And he seized on the opportunity there. Long throw again from Bromley, put the ball forward. I think it was Rawlinson just got the wrong side of one of the strikers. The ball was nodded down. Cheek picks it up, chests it down from about 28, 29 yards. Runs onto it, smacks it low and hard into the bottom corner from 25 yards with his right foot. Bromley are back on level terms, and how much Notts needed that second goal, whether from the penalty spot or one of the Wes Thomas chance in the first half, but we're back on level terms and the game is right back in the melting pot. It's a 40-minute game now, really. 1-1 here between Notts and Bromley, and yeah, you of course do cast your mind back to that penalty with Mitchell Rose hitting the post from the spot with 23 minutes gone in the game. And now the win very much in the sails of the visiting team. The Ravens, or they also known as the Lily Whites, are Bromley, although they play in all red this afternoon at Meadow Lane. Notts in black and white stripes, black shorts, white socks, as you'd fully expect being the home team here at Meadow Lane. Enzio on the left, goes back to Doyle, Doyle back to Rose, and a time for your experienced heads like you, Michael Doyle, to get a sort of game by the scruff of the neck, really get a grip of this one as they lift it in behind again to Bromley. It's with Rees, who's trying to play in that number 10 role for the time being. Lays it off for Coulson on the left hand side, and they get men forward and they offer the overlap, and that's with the fullbacks from Wood on the left hand side and Kizzy on the right. Ball forwards from Raymond. Brindley heads it away. Former Bromley player back to Wood, and there are now shouts of nerves, of frustration from the Notts supporters away to our left hand side. Another long one up over the top from Bush. This one goes all the way through to Sam Slocum, and a goal early in the second half, a goal just before half time, always talked about as key moments to score in a game. It just throws any of the manager's plans completely out the window, and Notts are really under the cosh now as Bingham's going to try his luck from range. He's dragged that one a long way wide. Yeah, thankfully that was an optimistic effort there from Bingham. The number 10 on his left foot, fully 30 yards out. Notts just causing their own problems there, just not tight enough, tidy enough with the ball in possession, trying to play out from the back. Mitch Rose just under pressure, not able to keep the ball. And again, you just wonder whether at times they just go a little bit too short in possession. Is there a time now for 2 or 3 minutes just to turn Bromley around, get them back towards their own goal, try and derail this momentum that they've got?
Michael Doyle's on the ball for Notts, plays it down the left channel, looking for Kyle Wotton, headed away before he could get there. Helped on its way by Kizzy. Rose tries to prevent the break, catches maybe a stray forearm there from Billy Bingham, who's turned onto the right-hand side. He's running with it, but he's been dispossessed by a combination of McCrory and Baldwin. Back to Doyle once more, now to Osborne, to Rose, and that's lovely from Notts as they work it out to the right-hand side for Brindley. He's got loads of time to pick his cross out, and it's a really poor ball when you consider the amount of time and space that he had, and that puts an end to that brief foray forward from Notts County. But it was lovely play on the way to it. Better
football from Notts, quick, incisive 1 and 2 touch passing through the lines. That's what they've got to do more of.
As Rose now gives it away, trying to find Osborne as they attempted to do the same. Rawlinson wanted Brindley to go and make the run down the right hand side, but he didn't. Those two on different wavelengths on that occasion. 53 minutes have been played, 1-1 here now between Notts and Bromley. Bromley third in the league going into the game today, Notts 7th. Certainly two teams that are looking to get out of this division this season. It's with Rawlinson at the heart of defence. Gives it to Brindley. Could the Notts defenders done any more in the build-up to the Bromley goal, the equaliser, to prevent it?
Yeah, I think you can always look at it and do a little bit more, but it was a quick, long throw, wasn't it, down the line into the edge of the Notts penalty area. I think Connell Rawlinson just found himself the wrong side of his man. And Notts
it's a stinker! It's a stinker of a challenge from Michael Cheek, who has lunged in at Connell Rawlinson in the bottom corner, and the referee's got a real decision on his hands to make now. He's lunged in at him for no reason in that bottom left-hand corner, and there's no linesman close enough within 50 yards of that decision to help the referee on this occasion. What is Tom Reeves going to do? He goes to his pocket. I think it's going to be a yellow card, and I think he's very, very lucky.
Yeah, he is. I think, to be fair, Connell Rawlinson's done him a favour, because although he was left in a heap in the corner initially, the referee bought himself a bit of time to think about what he was going to do. Rawlinson's back on his feet, didn't need treatment, and I think that always just swings the ref's mind to think, well, maybe it just looked a little bit worse, maybe it was a glancing blow. But yeah, you're right, it's one of them, you know, as the defender's trying to clear it, the striker's going in, dangles his foot and can just leave one on the defender. Yellow card for Michael Cheek, though.
Long ball forward from Slocum from the resulting free kick. Rawlinson now into the back of Cheek, and Cheek goes down, and that'll be a free kick the other way. And Bingham's got the nerve to come across and say surely Rawlinson should be booked, like the two things are the exact same. Free kick it is. 10 minutes played in the second half. Still entertaining, albeit not such fun in this first 10 minutes of the second half as it was in the first 10 of the first, when Notts by this point were a goal up in the first 45. It's now 1-1, and it'll be a free kick that Luke Coulson, former Fleetwood, Barnet, Cardiff man, will take about 5 or 6 yards inside the Notts half. Any excuse, any opportunity though for Bromley to throw that ball forward, get it forward, get the big man forward, and it's going long into that Notts penalty area again. It bounces inside the 18-yard box, and it's nodded behind in the end by Connell Rawlinson for an 8th corner of the game. 7 of those came in the first half. Matchday on BBC Radio Nottingham for you. It's also 0-0 between Mansfield and Grimsby, that one up at Field Mill. Grimsby down to 10 men. They lost a man early in that game, about 8 or 9 minutes into it. And we'll check in with Jake shortly. But first of all, here comes this in-swinging corner. Not a bad one. Keeper was pinned to his line. Still managed to jab the ball away with his right glove. And it's now with Bingham on the Bromley right. Plays a quick 1-2, gets it back, looking for the 3-4, and Bromley still have it. It's with Raymond into the penalty area. Well dealt with though by McCrory, and now Notts need to get rid. They can't faff about with it there inside their own 18-yard box. Enzio does get it clear, and it's throwing for Bromley on the halfway line, and it looks as though this one-way red traffic will continue, but a long ball up over the top from one of the Bromley players has gone all the way through to Sam Slocum, and that just allows Notts as a team to collectively take a deep breath.
Yeah, it does. I mean, this is a proper game, isn't it? This, when you talk about football, you've got two contrasting styles, two teams trying to do things totally different, how they're going about things. And both teams, you'd say, look dangerous when they go forward, both better going forward than defending. So no quarter being given. It's been tight in midfield, been a battle. And the game is there for either team to go and take it. It's a really intriguing encounter.
Notts free kick on the halfway line with 57 gone. Taken quickly, switch from left to right. It's with Brindley. Plays it first time down that right wing, and Enzio will do well to get on the end of that. Wood comes across and takes a touch, and it'll be a goal kick. The Notts fans away to our right-hand side cannot understand how that couldn't have been a corner kick, and it looked like it was a corner kick. All ends up, and I don't know why Wood took a touch in the first place.
Wood took a touch, and then felt he got held by Enzio, and the ball rolled out for what should have been a corner. And rather than give the linesman, didn't think it was a free kick, so didn't flag for that. But I think out of sympathy, has thought, well, I'll give a goal kick. That's, you know, appeases pretty much everybody, except it appeases nobody.
Indeed. We approach 4:20 on your Saturday afternoon. The black flag, the Notts County crest, flaps away in the wind on top of the Jimmy Cyril stand, where a kind of purple hue is in the sky this evening over Sneinton. Conor Rawlinson has the ball deep in his own territory and on the left-hand side, does really well to play it away down the left-hand side, keeps it in, but then Sam Osborne's touch sticks it straight out for a Bromley throw, and these throw-ins are just so very, very dangerous for the visitors, because again, across comes Chris Bush, who we know can launch the ball flat with a sort of 50-yard throw right into the heart of that Notts penalty area, and it really sticks Notts as a team collectively on their heels. Here comes the long one from Bush, this one with more arc in at the 6-yard box. It's headed away back there by Lacey, comes back out in the direction of Bush. Good tackle made by Sam Osborne, and then wins a throw in himself and perhaps makes a touch of amends there with 59 on the clock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, does well there. Sam Osborne, you know, winning the ball again, the job that they've got to do. It's that sort of game where the wide men are being asked to do defensive duties, which they are doing. We've seen probably more of them in a defensive sense, Sam Osborne and Enzio, than we have in an attacking third. Obviously, bar that 3rd-minute goal where Sam Osborne did well down the left-hand side in providing the ball across for Wes Thomas's finish. But it has been that sort of game where everybody's got to give everything they've got. That's
good from Thomas and Wotton, and nearly from Osborne. There are shouts for handball against Bush, but they're not going to get it, as he then clears it away, and it comes straight through to Lacey, and now McCrory will clear it away down the left-hand side, but it's coming straight back to those Notts players who are back there inside their own half. Brindley to Rawlinson now, and Rawlinson, the Welshman, thinks about what he's going to do. Welshman sounds like he's from Merseyside, he's from North Wales, and a bit of a crossover there as an Evertonian, as Brindley goes back to his goalkeeper Slocum, and they switch it from right and out to left, and now it's with Lacey, and with his left foot he plays the ball forward, but it's straight to a red head once again, and now Cheek turns, Lacey gets there, tries to find Osborne just inside the Bromley half, who holds it up, and it goes back to McCrory, and McCrory plays it long down the left-hand side, and Wotton's done what strikers do. He's turned his man, but even though he's never going to get there in the first place, the referee's given a free kick, and before Stow can jump into the strikers' union, I will head to Field Mill, and Jake will tell us the latest there. Indeed. Or fools seldom differ. Chippers raises his eyebrows and I know which one it is. Thank you very much, Jake. Just a brief stoppage in play here as Rich Brindley has gone to volley the ball away, and he's volleyed it straight off of Frankie Raymond's face, who went down like he'd just been smacked by Anthony Joshua, but he's back up to his feet. I think he'll be absolutely fine. 61 minutes have been played. It's still 1-1 here between Notts and Bromley. In the FA Cup this afternoon, Brentford are leading Stoke by a goal to nil. In the third round this is, Cardiff 2, Carlisle 2. Carlisle had led in that one. Fulham are leading against Aston Villa by a goal to nil. 1-1 between Oxford and Hartlepool. Norwich are winning 3-1 at Preston, and Blackpool are leading at Reading by 2-1. Bromley are back on the ball here, and Watford beating Tranmere 3-0. Southampton beating Huddersfield by 1-0. Good touch from Sam Osborne, takes it out of his feet and onto the left wing, though Kizzy is back there and briefly prevents the attack. McCrory then knocks it down that left hand side. It strikes the elbow of Kizzy, nothing he could do about it though, and that will be a throw-in for Notts. Taken short by McCrory, given straight to Osborne. He thinks about shooting from range. The optimism of youth, eh, Scott?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just where you a little bit of naivety from the young lad. Sam Osborne, we know he's got the ability to shoot from range, but that was fully 30, 35 yards at an angle. And in this sort of game, with how the second half's gone, that's where you just need to secure yourself in the final third of the opposition. You know, keep a few passes, just get extra bodies in there, keep the opposition pinned back. Opts to go for goal, and unfortunately doesn't make any sort of contact. And it's about 15 yards wide.
63 minutes are on the clock here, and Pierce Bird's just been dispatched to warm up for Notts, if nothing else to keep warm. But Christian Dennis is down there, and Nathan Tyson as well. You just wonder, with Bromley continuing to knock the ball long and have that aerial threat from set pieces, and of course from Chris Bush's long throw as well, you wonder whether or not the size, the height of Pierce Bird will be called upon as this game approaches a conclusion. Still a long way from that though. 63 minutes on the clock, and this game really could go either way. It's very finely poised at 1-0. Osborne on the ball, goes back to McCrory and now to Doyle. Doyle on the left wing, inside the Bromley half, back up towards the halfway line for Lacey, who kind of floats it up in the air. It's flicked on well. McCrory nearly gets there, but a strong challenge made by one of the Bromley defenders clears it away, albeit only briefly, because the Magpies are back in possession once more on the left-hand side. McCrory across to Osborne, bit of trickery with his feet, not a bad ball as well. Good defensive header though from Bush as he flicks it away and gets enough purchase on it to clear it quite a distance as well. He flicked it behind and over his shoulder, and I nearly lost my headset as I tried to mimic exactly that in the press box here, and it will be a throw-in for Bromley on the near touchline.
Yeah, you stick to the commentary like the defenders do the defending. Chris Bush did really well. He was then better from Sam Osborne. Yeah. That's what you want to see on the touchline, getting a good delivery and good cross with pace, whipped into a good area, and Bromley stood up to it, equal to it. Good defensive work. You're right, this game is absolutely finely poised. Doyle
tries to find Osborne. Good last-ditch tackle made by Kizzy as young Aussie tried to poke it past him, and Bromley are back in possession once more. 65 on the clock. Long ball forwards down that right-hand side. Not sure that'll stay in. It kisses off the back of the linesman on its way out for a Notts throw, and Damien McCrory will slowly trot back and take it. So with 25 minutes to go, plus a bit of stoppage time. What's a good result here, given how the first 65 minutes have gone in this game?
Well, the game's there to be won for either team. So a good result, obviously, is all 3 points for Notts. But you feel they've got to string some passes together. The one time they've done that in the second half, good 1- and 2-touch passing movement with progression. They got in down this right-hand side. Yeah, I say there's going to be chances there. It really is finely balanced, and it's on a knife edge. There for either team to win it.
Another poor touch from Sam Osborne as he gives Bromley the ball. Notts then clear it, and it's coming straight back towards them once again. It seems to be at this stage of the game, and maybe it's a young thing early in his development, is Osborne, and really just breaking into the first team properly this season. And he gets to this stage of the game, an hour or so gone, and then maybe he tires a little bit because the distribution can go a little sloppy at times. And I don't want to be too harsh, because just a moment ago he stuck a lovely ball into the Bromley penalty area as well. So he's still got his weapons to him and his options, but I do wonder if Neil Ardley looks at it and thinks maybe it's approaching a time for a change. Likewise, Neil Smith, the Bromley manager, will be thinking, I'm sure, about what options he's got on his bench. It's with Enzio Baldwin for Notts on the right wing near the corner flag, and wins Notts what is only their third corner of this game.
Yeah, that's it. We're talking about the wide men, Sam Osborne and Enzio Baldwin. Not seen a great deal of the ball in attacking thirds, in attacking areas. They've done a good job defensively there. Enzio getting the ball again, as Osborne did just a couple of minutes ago, get near the byline, trying to put a cross in. So I say the opportunity is there, but Notts have got to move the ball sharply and quickly with quality.
Enzio, the man who'll take it with the right foot. He drills it low to Wootton. He had a really good opportunity to turn that goalwards. He's got it all sorts of wrong. I think it struck the shin pad in the end and went well wide, but it was a really well-worked set piece that's come off the training ground.
Yeah, it's a training ground set piece that we've seen Notts work in previous games, haven't we? That one where you get a runner round the front and it's delivered low to about level with a penalty spot, and Carl Wootton loses his man. The blockers do their job, but you've got to try and, you know, wrap your foot around it on the strike and turn it goalwards. Unfortunately, he gets it all wrong, strikes with the outside of his foot, and it goes in the opposite direction out for a goal kick. Again, it's going to need a chance like that, a moment like that, where somebody takes that opportunity that might be the difference between the two teams.
That's neat from Notts. Enzio to Osborne to Doyle, and now McCrory all around the halfway line. Ball lifted long, nearly found Thomas, but it's been flicked away from him, and it's gone straight through to the Bromley goalkeeper, who's not touched it for a while. 67, nearly 68 minutes on the clock here. It has been eventful, this game, and it has been from the very start of it, as Rawlinson now clears it away from the edge of his penalty area. Notts took the lead with only 3 minutes on the clock, and it was a lovely fast-paced counter-attack from back to front. Osborne to Thomas, and a brilliant finish from Thomas to set Notts on their way. Rawlinson tries to head it clear, and they've not really managed to clear their lines all that effectively here. Notts with Coulson into the area, tries to curl it goalwards. We were always behind that one. It always looked like it was just set a little bit too far wide to curl back, and Coulson, I dare say, has a temper. In his protest to the referee, again, he felt that Slocum got just a fingertip to that to put it behind for what he believed should have been a corner kick. Coulson nearly ripped his shorts off of his legs in protest. Yeah,
as you say, we were behind it all the way, and he just tried to bend it with his right foot. Never going to bring it back from there, but it was only about a yard wide in the end. One of them that looked closer than it actually was.
McCrory on the left-hand side, approaching the edge of the Bromley penalty area. This is neat from Notts, up to Wootton, who holds it up back to goal on the edge of that 18-yard box. Now to Doyle, to Osborne on the left-hand side, to McCrory. Neat little 1-2 played. Can Osborne get there? Yes, he can. He's got a man for company, make it two. Cruyff turns away from one, keeps it in, crosses the ball into the area, wins a corner. Quick goal flash at Mansfield. Jake. Thank you very much, Jake. Meanwhile, here with 70 minutes about to tick over, Notts have another corner into the area.
Get in!
Yes, it is. Connell Rawlinson, his first goal for Notts County. Well worked. Points at the badge on his chest. Big Connell, who's become such a fan favourite here at Meadow Lane, with his black eyes and his stitches and his heroic performances. And now with a goal, 70 gone. Notts 2, Bromley 1.
Yeah, fantastic for Notts, and I tell you what, and not just because he scored, he's been absolutely immense at the heart of the Notts defence today, and he's still got, 20 minutes to carry on being immense alongside Alex Lacey. But he puts Notts' noses in front again, a short corner. Michael Doyle floats it in with his left foot, and Rawlinson makes it his. 6 or 7 yards out, just a header down into the bottom corner. No chance for Huddart in the Bromley goal. And fantastic goal, fantastic time for Notts to score. There's been a couple of decent crosses put in. Good work leading up to that corner from Sam Osborne on the left-hand side, winning the corner. And Notts again get their nose in front. Can they keep it there? Can they go on and extend it? 20 minutes to go. It's going to be a big 20 minutes.
Certainly is. You can hear the wheelbarrow song being belted out by the cop away to our left-hand side. Meanwhile, as an immediate response to that, Neil Smith, the Bromley manager, has made a change, and they're going to go potentially even more attacking, if that is even possible. They've taken off their holding midfielder in Frankie Raymond, and they've brought on Rico Hackett, and that is surely a yellow card for Bush. He's brought Enzio down, and the referee's absolutely bottled it. It's a foul every day of the week. It's a yellow card every day of the week, and the ref knows he's already booked him, and he would have had to have sent him off, and so he's bottled it and not given anything.
Yeah, I can't disagree. That's exactly, you've got it exactly right. Yeah, it's a foul in the middle of the park. Enzio was trying to skip past him. He was a little bit late. That is a yellow card in this day and age, and I think the minute he realised who it was, he let play go on, didn't even give a free kick. But yeah, I think you've called it exactly right, Charlie. Can't disagree with you.
And we will watch to see as well quite exactly how they line up now. Rico Hackett Fairchild, to give you his full name, has got 8 goals to his name so far this season. He was part of Norwich's academy before he moved on, also been at Charlton, and now here he is at Bromley. And as I say, 8 goals to his name so far this season. They have taken that anchor out of there, but Billy Bingham will, by the looks of things, just sit a touch deeper. Here goes Wood down the left-hand side, sprints away from Enzio. Not many do that. Now to Coulson. Wotton nearly gets in on Coulson. He's an aggressive young man. Out to the right-hand side now with Kizzy. And here is Hackett, by the looks of things, as he cuts in, he shoots from range. And when I mean range, we're talking range. And you know, sometimes when it's so bad, they don't even hit the corner flag. Like, it's gone out for a throw-in.
I was going to say, it looks like he's kicking for touch there. I mean, he can do that all day long, try and shoot from 40 yards on that inside right channel with his left foot. As you say, it's gone for a throw-in for Notts, about 5 yards from their own corner flag. But yeah, optimistic in the extreme. But it doesn't look like they've changed the shape. It's just they've changed the personnel around, as you say. I think Bingham's gone to drop in that deeper line midfield. They're still 4-3-3, Bromley. You imagine there's 1 or 2 more attacking-minded players on the pitch, and they're going to be throwing everything at it.
Coulson gets away from Baldwin. Doyle doesn't let him get away. The ball goes past him. The man does not, but they keep going. It's with Rees, who shoots. It's blocked, and the ball's back up towards the halfway line. The referee gives a soft free kick, which they take really quickly. He might as well not have even given it in the first place. It's hardly disrupted the rhythm of the game, and Notts now have it back on that left-hand side. I think it might have flicked off a red boot, but the ball's going to stay in anyway, and it's not back in the opposite direction by Holland, who gave away a penalty in the first half. Rose missed it. Seems like an age ago. Notts lead by 2-1. There are 73 minutes on the clock. There's a great atmosphere here inside Meadow Lane. This is the first home game of 2020 where so many hope for so much more than what 2019 provided. They will have to defend another long throw from Chris Bush, who, I might add, is lucky to still be on the pitch.
Absolutely right, yeah. But like I say, it's a real good atmosphere in the ground because they know this is a real game. Could go anyway.
Here comes that long throw. Rees is a target. It bounces on the edge of the 6-yard box, misses everybody somehow, and Enzio clears it away. Not a brilliant clearance though. It's coming straight back to the penalty area once again. Slocum comes for it, doesn't make a great punch of it. Wotton's back there, shows his ability in the penalty area, heads it clear, and now Notts have the counter. Osborne tried to slide it through to Thomas. He would have been well offside. They keep hold of it though through Rose, and now Baldwin down the right wing. Coulson back there fronting him up. Quick step over, tries to get to the byline. It's really good defending that, in fairness, from that angry man Coulson.
Yeah, Coulson's done brilliantly well there. Defensively, he's been a live wire going forward, doing his job there, going back the other way, just too strong for Enzio. Enzio not been able to get past him. But again, there's a real bite and snap about the game. Both teams, both players not shying out of tackles. It's a really good game, 2-1, 15 minutes to go. Still could go either way. Certainly could. Rawlinson comes forward to make a powerful header. He's clattered into Rees, and Rees stays down. The referees had to stop the game. Meanwhile, a Notts player is down on the ground as well. It's Richard Brindley, and we're going to have a break in play. 15 minutes to go here. We'll all take a breath, and we'll head up the A60, and Jake will tell us if there is any life in Mansfield Town, who are 1-0 down against 10-man Grimsby. So, mate. He's going to even it up. Yeah, I can feel it. Felt like it all day. He's going to even it up. Thank you very much, Jake. Back here at Meadow Lane, the players are back on their feet. Everybody seems to be okay. A little bit of treatment has been taken for Rees, the Bromley 25, with 76 on the clock here. The attendance has just been read out. 179 have come from Bromley. It makes up an attendance here this afternoon of 5,192. Coulson stands over the ball. He's got 3 goals to his name so far this season. He'd do well to get another one from here because he's only about 10 yards inside the Notts half, just inside the centre circle. Notts with a high line on the edge of their own D, and they're going to have to be really militant about holding that line. All the big men forward
once again, as they have been from the word go in this game. Coulson plays it with his right foot up towards Kizzy, over the top of him. Rawlinson's back there. He's going to try and shepherd it out. He's not managed to do so, and then he's conceded a corner kick in the process. Always a gamble, that.
Yeah, it was. Just the ball wouldn't roll quick enough, would it? He'd been better off the big centre-half putting his foot through it in the end. You can say Holland did well, wins a corner off him, and another chance for Bromley to load the big man forward and load that Notts penalty area full of bodies.
Coulson will come across and take it. A few shouts from Notts fans that the ball isn't within its little slice, if you will, if you get my meaning. And here comes an in-swinging corner from Coulson. Oh, it's not a bad one towards the back stick. That's a really good defensive header, though, from McCrory, who flicks it away before Kizzy could do any damage. He was just in behind him, but it's out for a throw-in, and we know what that means.
Yeah, I just wonder, I'm looking down at the dugouts now, I wonder if there's any thought from Neil Ardley to look at Pierce Bird coming on just for an extra bit of height in there. Ideally, you wouldn't want to bring another defender on and try and absorb more pressure, but there is more height there on the pitch.
Still warming up. Here comes the long throw, headed away, but not all that far towards the back post. Now headed goalwards. Keeper will come, keeper will claim it, and he'll lie on the ball and smother it. And Notts again survive another one of those long bombs into their penalty area. They are such a threat, Bromley, when it comes to anything to do with a set piece. Yeah,
absolutely. And I don't know what the stats will say, but I'm sure this will be the most balls into their own penalty area that Notts have had to defend all season, and certainly done with the amount of attacking bodies around them.
Thomas on the ball near the edge of the Bromley penalty area now. He's got men in front of him. Rose was making the run. It was just in behind him as Rose had gone early, and it couldn't find Enzio, and instead Coulson's back on the ball once again for Bromley. Plays a long sweeping pass from the heart of the Bromley half out towards Hackett on the far touchline. He beats one man, tries to beat another, but back there comes Mitchell Rose, who's, what's he playing at? He's put the ball behind for a corner kick. At one point he thought he was going to shepherd the ball out, then he realised the ball's never got the legs on it to do so, and then he slipped over and the ball's gone behind for a... You just don't need to be giving them additional opportunities.
A little bit of pressure, that, Charlie, just goes to show 78 minutes, nearly 79 on the clock, and Mitch Rose just having a bit of a brain lapse there, wanting the ball to run, it wasn't going to, and then when he decided to play it, had a poor touch and concedes the corner. And again, Bromley, we know exactly where it's going.
Yes, indeed. 79 minutes are on the clock here. Notts leading by 2-1. An outswinging corner into the penalty area. Another towering header from Conor Rawlinson, but the ball's going to come straight back into that penalty area once again. It's not cleared. Here comes a punch away, and the linesman's flag's up on the far side as Bush tried to smack it back into the mix once more. Sam Slocum with a punch clear. The linesman's flag was quickly up on the far side, and again another moment just to breathe for Notts.
Yeah, exactly that. Now it is about game management as we look, as there is some activity down in the dugouts. And the substitution sheet going into the fourth official. We'll wait and see who that's going to be. But yeah, it's all hands on deck, certainly for Notts. From a Notts perspective, I just wonder if you might be tempted to take maybe one of the front men or a wide man off and bring a Pierce Bird on, because we know exactly what Bromley are going to do every chance they get.
Yeah, Osborne there playing the ball to McCrory, who smacked it away. I'm just getting a quick spy at the fourth official's board, and it is going to be Pierce Bird who's going to come on for Sam Osborne next time that the ball goes dead. Thomas goes down, wants a throw in, doesn't get one, and here comes the long throw of Bush again, but this time Rawlinson touch more alert to it perhaps than in the lead up to Bromley's equalising goal before. That one coming 5 minutes into this second half, but it's gone out for another throw in, and all it's done is it's meant that they can nudge along the touchline. Bush with another one, another long launching throwing into the Notts penalty area to come. Christian Dennis is also going to come on for Notts, just to give a few more legs maybe going forward. Long throw from Bush, edge of the 6-yard box, headed back towards the back post now, not being cleared. A bundle of bodies, the ball pinballing around, and it's cleared away by Alex Lacey up towards the halfway line. And those Notts defenders need to get out and put a bit of space between themselves and the edge of their own penalty area. They've not done, but Rawlinson will head away another ball forwards, and it's back up towards the halfway line again with Bush. Now to Bingham, 81 minutes on the clock. Notts leading by 2-1 in this enthralling game between 3rd and 7th in the National League. Another clearance away from another long ball. Now a big header from Bush puts the ball back in the Notts penalty area, but it will fall towards the feet of the goalkeeper, Sam Slocum. All in green against the green turf. He wastes a few seconds, as many as he possibly could do. before he finally picks the ball up.
Yeah, this is where we talk about bravery in football. Now, we've just seen there Notts hoofing the ball clear. There's loads of bodies in the penalty area getting the ball clear, but that's where you've got to be brave and then try and step out 5 or 10 yards as the ball goes up to the halfway line. There it was a case of they sort of sat there and thought, well, we know this is going to come back to us, so we'll just sit on the edge of the penalty area. You've got to try and squeeze them extra few yards, get Sam Slocum's starting position further up as well, and just condense the play so that the ball from Bromley can't be put into the 6-yard box, the penalty spot. It's put on the edge of the penalty area.
Well, here comes the double change, and then Bromley are going to make a change as well in a moment. So first of all, here comes Pierce Bird. Osborne is the man who will make way. Right from the heart of the pitch, where he can take as long as he possibly can as he comes off. He takes in the applause of those here at Meadow Lane. They love him so much. Come through the academy and scored that wonderful goal here on Boxing Day against Maidenhead, and obviously scored a brilliant one down at Boreham Wood as well. And the other change, we'll see Christian Dennis come on, and Wes Thomas, I believe, yeah, will make way. And again, he's going to take his sweet time in coming off as well. And with 7 minutes to go plus stoppage time, it's all about laying it all on the line now, isn't it, Mark Stellard, and managing the game when you have the opportunity to manage it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure, in an ideal world, Neil Ardley would have liked to kept the shape, kept the formation, but the game dictates. Bromley are putting the ball in at every opportunity. That additional height of Pierce Bird is potentially going to be vital, so they'll go to a back 3, almost a back 5 if you like, but they've still got to make sure they try and have outlets going forward, and Christian Dennis being sent on to make sure he can try and retain the ball and allow Notts to get out and get up the pitch whenever they can.
Well, changes on the way for Bromley as well. Coulson's just come off and Andre Coker has come on. I'm a little surprised at that because Coulson was coming into the game. But he comes off, and then another change as well has been made, and this one is going to see Michael Class come on. He's onto the pitch. All we need to know now is the fourth officials board to tell us who's come off, and it's Josh Rees who has come off. So all the cards played by Neil Smith now as Bromley desperately try to get something out of this game. Yeah,
exactly. 83 minutes on the clock already, although we're going to get a good 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time, no doubt, at the end. So say about 10 minutes to go. Can Notts manage the game? Can they get hold of the ball and utilise that as well? They don't want to be suffering 10 minutes, so they're trying to soak up pressure. They've got to make sure they get on the ball and play.
Bromley are on the ball on the right hand side, coming forward and playing a long ball up towards Class, who's just come on. Instead it's going to fall to Coker, who's also fresh off the substitutes bench. He's closed down back there by Richard Brindley, fakes to cross, he cuts back onto his left, comes back onto his right, goes back to Wood. He stands the ball into the penalty area, and Lacey will head it clear. Enzio helps it on its way, so does Christian Dennis. Kyle Wootton then climbed all over by Bush back there. They play a long ball up over the top. It falls towards the edge of that Notts penalty area. Rose makes a good challenge, and now Michael Doyle in possession as McCrory is dragged to the ground by Cheek off the ball. Meanwhile, Christian Dennis has just used his left hand to keep hold of it for Notts deep in Bromley territory. Waste a few seconds, if nothing else, and Damien McCrory has some complaints to the referee and the linesman on that far side when Cheek dragged him down.
Yeah, that's exactly right, yeah, off the ball. Cheek just stopping McCrory making that forward run. But again, Notts, that's what Christian Dennis got to try and do. He's going to plough a lone furrow up front. Carl Wootton's going to sit in behind him alongside Enzio. And Mitch Rose, Michael Doyle will hold him in midfield, and then it's, like I say, it's almost a back 5 behind them.
Here's Coker again on his right foot near the edge of that Notts penalty area, held up briefly by Brindley, but he turns onto that left-hand side. He gets in between a couple of Notts players, but the Irishman, so much experience, Doyle back there, will clear it, and it goes out for a throw-in. Bush to take the throw. It's the first short one. I didn't know he had that in his arsenal. I didn't know he could do short throw-ins as well. Goes short, plays the cross into the edge of the area, headed clear, comes to Kizzy, cross towards the back post, nodded back across goal, and Mitchell Rose sticks it behind for a corner kick. Not a great clearance from Rose, he probably could have stuck that out for a throw-in, but throw-ins and corners in this game with Bush on the pitch are much of a muchness, so
yeah,
corner kick.
Panic stations back there in the Notts defence. It is absolute kitchen sink being launched in by Bromley. This could be the longest 8 or 9 minutes for Notts fans listening to this and watching.
Deary me. Wood with an out-swinging corner with his left foot. Not a bad ball to the edge of the 6-yard box once more. Overhead kick attempted. by young Recco Hackett. 8 goals to his name so far this season. He won't get a 9 that way because went a long way wide.
Well, he's had two efforts, the substitute, both optimistic. That time an overhead kick he tried to pull out from 12 yards. His first effort went about 40 yards wide. That went about 20 yards wide. He's getting closer, but I think he might run out of time. We certainly hope he does before he gets one on target. And Sam Slocum will take all the time he can possibly get to take this goal kick for Notts.
87 minutes, nearly up here at Meadow Lane, as Slocum takes a long goal kick clearance forward. Wootton and Bush battle for the ball. Rose then with a good leap as he wins a header. Doyle wins another header. Dennis lurks with intent. Bingham touches it forward, and it's now helped over the top by Bromley as Bird is running back towards his own penalty area, and he does just about enough in the end. As Cheek then throws himself to the ground. Bird and Cheek were battling all the while, and then Bird just gives Cheek a little nudge as he goes past him, a cheeky little nudge, if you will, and he threw himself to the ground, did the big number 9, who now hears it from the Kop on the way to the left-hand side. 88 minutes nearly gone. Long clearance forward. Wood has the ball at his feet, and the Bromley left-back smashes it clear. Bird gets underneath it, and it's now with Kizzy, the right fullback. Finds Hackett once more, turns and tries to beat Doyle, sticks him on the seat of his pants, plays the ball into the edge of the penalty area, and Doyle just about does enough and sticks it behind for yet another corner. Yeah,
Damien McCrory just losing his foot in there, wasn't he? Squared up against the winger for Bromley. And Doyle just covering for him, chests it out, concedes this corner. Notts got to stay strong.
Less than 2 minutes remaining here at Meadow Lane. Notts leading by 2 goals to 1. In-swinger at the near post, half cleared away and then fully cleared by Enzio. And again, the Notts players told to get out by the fans here. Try to put some space between them. There's a man left over as it's knocked back into that Notts penalty area again as Wootton looks to clear it. Ref is given a free kick. For a moment, I thought he was going to give a penalty.
Well, he's going to get it gone to his cards, and I tell you what.
And who's the man down? I think it's Bush, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's going to be off.
Yes, because I thought Wootton got there first. It is Bush who's down. He's staying down. Both men are at the moment, lying prone on the pitch. The ref's gone to his book. He's given Notts the free kick. Wootton just about got there first. He's been surrounded by red and black and white shirts at the moment. Mainly, it's the Bromley players who are trying to ensure that they don't send Bush off. Bush, who's such a weapon with his long throw and his height and his physicality. But he's gone to his book. Yes, he has. He's produced a yellow, now a red, and Bush is off. He should have gone yonks ago. For a professional cynical foul as Notts were counter-attacking, but the referee has now found that bottle that he lost earlier on. Maybe he just misplaced it.
Do you know what? I feel a little bit sorry for him there, because I don't think there's much he can do about that. He's running onto the ball on the edge of the penalty area, trying to get his shot away. Carl Wootton does brilliantly, gets there first and just toes the ball away from him as the Bromley defender comes on to launch it. Makes contact with Wootton, and so I would argue that the foul, we say 15-20 minutes ago, was worse, more bookable of an offence than that, but we aren't going to complain, we'll take it. Of course, all this adds extra stoppage time to the game, as Notts will have a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area when play resumes, but it will be against 10-man Bromley, who have lost their long throw weapon as well, so that's going to be a massive game.
And only 4 minutes being added on. Wow. We've not had any action for 2 minutes. We've had loads of subs and we've had injuries. I was expecting 6 or 7 at this rate, but only 4 have been added on. And Bush is still not off the pitch at this rate. He is now finally off the pitch. He took the tape that was wrapped around his wrists off on the way and still continues his protest with the 4th official, and he finally now makes his way down the tunnel. You're probably right, Stal. He is unlucky at that incident there to get a yellow. The ball was free and the two of them were going for it, and Wootton got there just a millimetre in front of him, but he should have gone anyway. As Wootton now flicks the ball on and the referee gives a free. I'm still convinced he's going to even it up.
Well, I'm not unconvinced either, but one thing you can say is every 50-50 is going to go Bromley's way, like that one there. So even though it's against 10 men, this could be the Alamo time, and can Notts get hold of the ball and just make the pitch big when they possibly can against 10 men.
Long ball forward from the goalkeeper, headed away by Connell Rawlinson, who at this rate has got Notts' winner. Out for a throw-in on this near touchline, doesn't carry the same threat anymore as Wood Plays it quickly to Bingham. That's neat football down the left-hand side. As it's now back to Coker, edge of the Notts penalty area. Rose comes across and makes a good challenge, and Christian Dennis is on the ball. And what's he done there? As he holds his head in his hands, he's fizzed it out for a throw-in on the far side. Daft from Notts number 9. Throw-in to be taken on that far touchline by Kizzy. A minute and a half of the 4 added on have now been played. You wonder if a little bit more will be played on top of that. Class is on the ball for Bromley. Oh, that wasn't class from Kizzy, who lets the ball roll underneath his right boot and out for a Notts throw-in.
That was more Miley in class than Michael class, but Notts aren't going to complain. It's a throw-in now. And how different does it look without them having that long throw option there? They were looking around, looking to have to go short, try and work the opening. Completely different change to the game. Now, if Notts can just see out these, what we got, two and a bit minutes left, then hopefully all 3 points will be staying at Meadow Lane.
Conor Rawlinson just been named man of the match this afternoon here for his goal, yes, but for so many defensive heroics at the back as well. Wootton tries to win a header, level with the halfway line, lands on Bingham's foot in the process. That's a heavy man to land on your foot after 92.5 minutes of football. This ain't over just yet. There's a minute and a half of stoppage time from the 4 that were added on remaining. It's with Wood inside the Bromley half, launches it forward, straight into the feet of Mitchell Rose, who does the right thing, controls it, gives it to Dennis, and Dennis is now urged to carry the ball forward. Instead, he switches it out to Enzio on the right wing. Enzio takes his time, waits for some support from Rich Brindley. Brindley, with a bit of patience, goes back to Rawlinson, forward towards Wootton, just about manages to eke its way through to the Notts striker, to Enzio on the right hand side, clips it in towards Rose, who runs over the ball, now to Dennis, who'll shoot from the edge of the penalty area. It deflects, finds Wootton, and the ball spins out into the far corner away to us, down at the Hayden Green family stand end. He's got a couple of players there. What's Wootton done? He's managed to win a throw-in. Good stuff.
Yeah, 93 on the clock. We should have 30 seconds or so of stoppage time, and Notts have got a throw-in in the opposition half, down by the corner flag, and they will take all their time they possibly can to take it. Notts fans thinking this is game over, but the way this game has been, you just never know. But it seems like hard work has been done, and it looks like Notts are going to be taking all 3 points.
Enzio takes the throw, Brindley on the end of it, the former Bromley man looking to hold it up against undoubtedly a couple of old teammates of his. That's a corner kick. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. A 5th corner of the game for Notts, very well timed. Mark Stallard puts his pen down. It's the equivalent of the old cigar, is it?
Well, not quite, but I don't imagine this corner going anywhere more than half a yard and staying in that corner. Come on, referee, let's have the whistle.
Yeah, more than 20 seconds over now of the 4 minutes added on. The referee puts his whistle to his mouth, and Notts County have themselves a massive 3 points to kick off the new year here at Meadow Lane. 7th at the start of the day against 3rd place Bromley. Everybody said this was a great opportunity to lay down a marker against one of those other teams that is pushing for promotion out of this division, and that is exactly what Notts have managed to do here this afternoon.